Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar, Customer Service Improving the Patient Experience by Seeing It Through Their Eyes, presented by Mitzi Young, Physician Advocate for the California Medical Association. Please be aware that there will be a question and answer portion at the end of today's webinar. Please type your questions in the question box located on the right of your screen. They will be answered in the order received. Additionally, if you would like a copy of the presentation slides to keep or to print out and take notes on during today's webinar, please find them on the right of your screen in the handouts section. They will also be emailed to all participants following the completion of the webinar, as well as a recorded version will be available on the website for members only. Again, we would like to thank you for attending, and I will now turn things over to Mitzi.
Thank you so very much. Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Mitzi Young. I'm the Physician Advocate for the California Medical Association. And so I'm going to just briefly go over some of the benefits of membership. Some people are actually members of the CMA, so I want to make sure that you guys understand exactly what your benefits of membership are. So with that, I'm just going to I work for the Center for Economic Services at the California Medical Association. And really what we do is we advocate on behalf of physicians. So you guys have denied claims, you have contracting problems, pretty much anything that happens from 9 to 5, you can certainly call us. We have a very robust health law library that we draw from. So we've got things like my favorite one that everybody loves, terminating a patient out of the practice. I'm sure some of you have wanted to do that from time to time. And if that is the case, we ask that you do make sure that you call us if you are a member. We've kind of got all of the step-by-step instructions to protect the physician. On top of having a template letter, you can just slap your letterhead on and send it off to the patient. And that's just one of 6,000 pages of information that happens in a practice that we can take care of. We do a lot of reimbursement advocacy, so we've got contacts in the payer world you and your practice will never be able to reach. We want to help you with those, so if you've got denied claims, you've got problems, they're not paying according to contract, you have contracting issues, those kinds of things, make sure that you're giving us a call. Anything in the operations kind of business side of medicine as well. We intervene with payers and regulators on behalf of physicians. So know that if it needs to go that far, we will absolutely help you and hold your hand through that process as well. We, again, have a very robust health law library that we draw from, but our legal resources, CMA produces a number of publications that can be very helpful for your practice, such as Advanced Healthcare Directive Kits, Managed Care Contracting Toolkit, which is absolutely phenomenal. One of our associate directors in the department actually wrote that, and it's been, you know, a really big hit with folks. So if you're renegotiating a contract or looking to get a contract with a payer, that's something you're going to definitely want to have. HIPAA training, this is a big deal. It needs to be done all the time. Annually is really what best practice is. So if that's something you need, we've got that as well. All right, we're going to get started here. So today we're going to discuss what is customer service or patient experience, what's wrong with it, and what we can do to improve it. While we're going through the webinar, I really want you guys to be looking at this not only from working in a practice standpoint, but also as a patient, because all of us are going to be patients at some time or another. And I think we sometimes forget that when we're busy working in the practice every day. So we want to make sure that we're looking at this through those eyes, right? The patient's eyes, not only your patients, but you as a patient. So really, what is customer service? Customer service is the assistance and advice provided by a company to those people who buy or use its products or services. And I think you guys would all agree that customer service is not an attitude, or it's an attitude, not a department. So it really depends on how we come to work every day. You know, we all get frustrated at points during the day. We're busy, people are interrupting us, the phone's ringing, you know, those kinds of things. And sometimes we can get a little short with people. We all do this, so just know that nobody's immune from this. We all have this problem. So really what you want to do is you want to make small positive changes that will turn into improvements and give improvements these will then turn into transformational change. So sometimes in a practice, it's really not the big things that you need to change. Certainly when we talk about service, it's just those little tiny incremental changes that we make that can really have a big, big impact on our day and our patients. So customer service in the communication department. So let me just tell you right now, it is my belief that we are all kind of not really good at communication. And I know that that's hard to hear for some folks, but I include myself in that. And I will give you kind of an example that I think you guys will be able to understand. Let's just take it onto a personal level. So if you have something that you want done at the house, right? So you ask the folks that live with you, can you do this or can you do that? It may be taking out the trash, cleaning bedrooms, putting dishes away, whatever it may be. And you ask for that, and then all of a sudden 2 hours later you come back and it's still not done. So what did you do wrong in that communication? Well, here's what happened. Instead of saying, hey, can you get those dishes done in the next hour? Can you get that trash taken out now? Okay, that's the kind of effective communication that people want to hear, because now you've really set it up for the people that you're talking to or asking the question to that want to do that you want them to do that task exactly when you want it done, what your expectation is. So communication is something we really don't think about on that kind of level, if you see what I mean. So really, in the workplace, we want to make sure that we're responding to emails quickly. This is something that's really easy to overlook. So we want to make sure that we're going through those, you know, at the end of the day, even just take another quick look and see which ones you didn't get to, and make sure that you get some kind of a response out. Listen, there's sometimes I get really busy and I will tell you that I will just shoot off a one-liner. Hey, I got your email. I'm going to get back to you tomorrow or Wednesday, and give you some kind of feedback on your question. That's all you need to do, right? And again, let's think about this if it were you as the patient. I always have to, you're going to hear me say that along the way. Avoid customers or patients, and I will call them customers at some point in this, throughout this presentation. Avoid explaining the same issue to multiple people. Okay, guys, listen, have you ever called anywhere for anything and you've had to explain the same thing over and over? By the time you've done this 4 or 5 times, you are so irritated that the poor person that got you on the 4th or 5th round is probably not going to be like, whoa, this person is really, really angry. So we really want to make sure that we're not doing that. And how we do that is we just simply listen to what the problem is and then let them know, I'm going to give Sandy the information. I'm going to explain what you just explained to me. And so I'm going to transfer you over to her, and then they can just take it where you left off. Really, really great customer service if you're able to do this, is to kind of explain that so they don't have to do it over and over again. Continued communication until the problem's solved. Again, we've all been there, right? We're talking about a problem. Somebody tells us that they're going to solve it and or get, some information to us, and then it goes crickets. We don't hear from anybody. We don't know what's going on. It's been a week or 2 now. Okay, now what happens? We get a little frustrated, or we get a little, irritated by this. So again, it's just a one-liner. Mrs. Smith, we're still working on this problem. Just wanted to give you an update. I'll get back to you within the next couple of days, or I will, email you or call you within the next week. That's all you need to do. I know it seems like, boy, that's an awful lot. You're asking me to work harder than I'm already working. But in the long run, I guarantee you that you won't get as many emails. You definitely won't get as many angry patients. And you certainly won't get the phone calls, because you're just keeping everybody abreast. And you really want to make sure that you're training everybody in the practice for this, right? Because there's always those people that perhaps are not in a good mood most of the time at work. That sometimes happens. So answering the phones quickly without long hold times, please, 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 please do this. As part of my job, I do a lot of secret calling to practices just for this reason alone. How long were they on they feel like perhaps the physicians or the managers feel that there was a problem in the practice. that the phones are going unanswered or the hold times are really long and people are hanging up. You can see a lot of that through your phone records and your phone reports that you can get, but certainly you want to make sure that they're being answered. I know rule of thumb is, 3 rings, right? And that's I think a really great best practice. 3 rings is good. But here's what you want to do. You want to make sure that people are talking slowly, right? So not, hold please. You know what I'm talking about, and all of you are laughing right now because that's exactly what happens. And you have no idea what they said. So we want to make sure that we really slow down our talking. We put that smile in their voice. This is just something that you would want on the other end of the phone, right? If you're going to ask somebody, can you hold please, will you please wait for their answer, okay? Please wait for them to say yes or no. We've all had it happen. It's just a response that people use when they answer the phone, but what happens is it becomes that and it looks that way. So if you're not actually going to wait for an answer to a question, don't ask the question, okay? And then again, we of course want to respect people's time, right? We want our time respected. The patients want their time respected. So make sure that you're looking at your phones and making sure they're being answered. And if there's a problem and things are going, unanswered, then of course we want to look at some internal workflow systems and see kind of the volume versus how many people are actually answering the phones. Okay, financial transparency in a practice is a very big deal. I know that all of you have had this happen one time or another, either as a patient or from a patient. And what happens is they walk in, they are told, or they check out, walk in, check in or check out, and they're told that they owe $300, $500, and they blow a gasket right there in the waiting room, all right, or right there at the checkout desk. So here's the thing. It's really important that you're communicating at a very high level with your patients, right? So take the time to communicate clearly what the financial responsibilities will be to them before they ever walk in your practice. Again, a lot of people want to, shoot me with spitballs when I say this, because here's what happens. I'm asking you to do more work. Not really, not really. So the patient's already calling for an appointment. You let them know what you're going to do on the financial side. We're going to check your eligibility. We're going to find out if you have a deductible, what your co-pays are, things like that. And that will help them to understand that when you confirm the appointment and they do owe, I'd say over $100, if they owe you $100, you need to call them, whether you have an automatic dialer or not, pull them out of the automatic dialer, call them and talk to them, let them know exactly what their money financial responsibility will be when they come to their appointment on Friday. I know it sounds crazy because a lot of people are like, we can't do that. We don't. Okay, but just expect what you're going to get, right? You just need to know what you're going to get if you're not giving that financial transparency. Give every patient a copy of your practice's financial policy. If you don't have a financial policy in place, please email me. I've got some tools and resources that I can send you from CMA that will help on patient financial responsibility that I think would help. So make sure that you're giving every patient a copy of that, because that kind of gives everything that's going to happen, right? And you can change it to your practice. And if you're offering payment plans, most practices do offer payment plans, and I think that's a really good idea. But I will tell you that the best practice should do something like this. We don't want to have payment plans with $10 payments and or patients that decide what they're going to pay. So I would say, because what happens really, and you all know this, is that if they're paying $20 or $25 a month, they could be paying that for 90 years and never have the balance paid off. So we want to make sure that we're kind of putting some really, good systems in place to get these balances paid off. So here's what I would suggest. $1 to $500 should be paid off in 6 months on a payment plan. 501 and beyond, and I'm going to say 501 to maybe $2,500 or $3,000 should be paid off in 1 year. Anything beyond that, I think, should just be, case by case, and you all will figure that out along with your physicians on what you want to do. So that's kind of a good rule of thumb. I think it's something that's workable. We can't just keep these $10 payment plans going on forever and ever. Okay. So connect and build trust. Patients want to be heard. We know that as patients. I want to be heard, understood and respected. So be positive and efficient. So here we're going to talk a little bit about the communication problem again. You want to speak in the language that the patient understands, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Communication problems, are something that happen throughout our day, every day. And so here's what I want to tell you. I like this, and there was a practice that actually took this and put it in their break room, so feel free to do that. So pay attention to what I'm about to say. We don't listen to understand, we listen to reply. So you know that you've been in conversations, either somebody explaining or somebody listening, right? And when you're listening, sometimes you're like, okay, just hurry up, take a breath, because I've got something to say about what you just said. We're just waiting to reply to what they're saying, right? And we're not really hearing and understanding and listening to what they're talking about. So make sure that you really understand that when you're listening to somebody, take it in. Don't let your mind wander, or don't think about that response that you want to do. Patients that are anxious will not comprehend information easily. And that's true. Anxiety, nerves, things like that, when patients are in the exam room, they're hearing you, but they're only hearing like, I'm sick, I need to be admitted to the hospital, I have, diabetes, high blood, whatever it is, that's what's going through their mind. So they're getting about every third word that you're talking about. So you want to make sure that you say it calmly and make sure that they understand it. And sometimes the way to do that is to just say, Mr. Jones, did you understand what I was telling you about your diabetes? And again, that's a good effective communications. Patients that do not like their doctor will not give complete information. True, true, true. They won't do it. They won't give complete information if they're not happy with where they're at, because they're already grumpy. They're like, you know what, leave me alone. I'm not even into you anymore. I'm over this. And they just give you, a couple one-word information. Increasing data suggests that patients that are active in their medical encounter, to ask questions and to participate in their care, do better biologically, in quality of life, and have higher satisfaction overall in their health care. So that definitely trickles down to the practice, right? And so we want to make sure that we're really involving them and getting them to be proactive in their health care, or that they have somebody that's helping them. So let's talk a little bit about the speak in the language that patients understand, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more at the end. Listen, patients typically do not understand medical terminology. So I would really, really like for you guys to stop doing that when talking to patients. You guys understand it, you've done it, you do it every day, but here's what happens, okay? When somebody is on the exam room table or in the chair in the exam room and you're talking to them in language they don't understand, they're going to shake their head yes, like they understand you. And it's all happened to us, and I'm going to tell you the reason. Psychology 101, nobody wants to feel stupid. You are talking to them as if they understand it, so guess what? They're going to shake their head yes, as if they understand it. When they go home and their wife or husband, daughter, son says, how did the doctors go today, Dad? It went good. What did they say? I have no idea. They said something about something. I don't remember, because they didn't understand any of the jargon that you were talking about. So let's make sure that we really kind of take that medical terminology out of it and explain it a little bit easier. See, Jack, run. That's what I say. Okay, so I'm just giving you a little bit of funny here. So I think we all can relate to this. We just want them to be quiet and listen to us, right? They keep interrupting us. I want to give you excellent customer service if you would just shut up and listen. So we've all felt that before, right? And we feel like that cat that's hissing. Okay, so let's talk about patient satisfaction versus patient experience, because there is a difference. Patient satisfaction is really the quality of care received from the physician. So it's the relationship between the doctor and the patient. So strong provider interaction would be your patient satisfaction, okay? It's patient perception. It's very hard to determine what every patient's perception of quality of care is to them, but when patients are highly satisfied and health outcomes are positive, this is going to be where a physician finds the balance of that satisfaction. It is estimated in the U.S. loss of the patient due to dissatisfaction can result in the loss of over $200,000 in income over the life of the practice. It also reduced risk of malpractice. So we really want to make sure that physicians understand the difference and understand the part that they play. Because a lot of times docs like to say, well, it was the front desk, they're mad because of XYZ, or it was the way that they were brought back to the room, or not always. Sometimes it's the physician, and we have to really help train these docs in the practices on what patient satisfaction is when it relates to them. Patient experience is really, it's a sum of all the interactions, the influence that patients' perceptions across the continuum of care. So that's all of the people that they come in contact with, including the doc to some degree. It's how the patients feel emotionally about their overall experience, okay? It starts at the first point of contact. We know that's the most important job of the entire practice, is those girls and guys that sit up front and receive the patients. Shoot for quality patient experience. So again, if you're the patient or your family member's a patient, would you refer your practice? Would you go to your practice? And think about everybody, right? Not just yourself or not just that really sweet doc, but think about everybody that works in that practice. Is that how you want to be treated, the way that everybody treats everybody in your practice, okay? Two people who receive the exact same care but have different expectations for how that care is supposed to be delivered can give different satisfaction ratings because of their different expectations. So make sure that you're looking at patient experience. Doesn't that just feel softer? Doesn't that just make you want to be a little nicer, a little more tender? You want to take care of that person in front of you just a little bit differently. Patient satisfaction is just kind of, it's used so often that I think that we forget what that really means. So make sure that the patient experience, that you're really giving them an experience that would be something they would go out and brag about, okay? Okay, so customer service, patient experience, what's wrong with it? Okay, well, here we go. So customer service is reactive. May I put you on hold? Thank you. We kind of talked about that a little while ago. We have all called businesses and even maybe our own doctor's offices, and that's what we get. It's just an automatic. You could actually ask those people, what did you just say? And they would actually stop and have to think about it. That's how automatic it is. It's just reactive. It's just automatic. And so we want to make sure that we're really thinking about that. I always think it's fun to kind of mix it up a little bit if you're answering the phones or you're on the phones. Mix it up a little bit. You know, have a couple of different things that you like to say. Customer experience is proactive. How is your day going? So you see the difference, right? Obviously, you're not going to answer the phone, how is your day going? But it's something that you could put into it after you've, you know, thank you for calling, you know, Dr. X's office. You're trying to make an appointment. How's your day going today, right? That's part of the patient experience. It's proactive. So customer service is more scripted, as I said, and customer experience or patient experience is how you treat them, how they feel about everything. Customer service should be included as a part of the overall approach to improvement. One good customer service experience can change the entire perception a customer holds towards the organization. So things might not be getting done as quickly as a patient may like, or things may not be even, maybe there's some things that are out of your control that you can't get done for them, but that patient experience that you're giving them, they're not going to knock marks off for that, right? They're not going to go out and probably say horrible things. They know that you're trying the best you can. It's just some things can't be done the way that the patient would like them to be done. So Connecting with patients, you know, that's a really, really important piece of the patient experience. So an organization that values good customer service may spend more time in training employees than the average organization, or may proactively interview customers for feedback. Now, I ask this question a lot, so I want you thinking about this. Do you do extensive customer service or patient experience training in your office with your staff? And if the answer is no, you probably should think about putting that in place, because it will make a huge difference. The best way to do it is in your staff meetings or your huddles every morning. You can certainly carve out some time, bring in lunch or breakfast or something like that, and have a meeting on the calendar. And this is really what we're going to focus on, is customer service. There's a lot of material out there. And if you need anything, please just give us a call. We'd be more than happy to help you with that. Focusing on financial metrics can cause an organization to lose sight of its purpose, to provide a better, best, and customer patient experience as possible. That's really what you want to focus on. The money will come if people are treated right? And more money will come because they'll go out and tell everybody that they know, and all their neighbors and people at, you know, wherever they're at, their church and things like that, that this is just a place you want to go. Okay. So here's kind of the customer service equation. I pulled this from Oracle. I think it was really good and it was relevant. So acquisition refers to the ability of an organization to increase its customer or patient base. And that's usually what most people want. The physician owners want to increase their patients. They want more new patients. They want to be able to hire new doctors and new providers. And so that's something that, you know, most companies would like. Retention is the ability of an organization to keep and grow the patients that they already has. Really, really important to do that. If you're only a one-timer, that's all you're getting, or if you as a patient is like, I will never go back to that practice again, that's a lot of money lost for that business. So we want to make sure that we understand what retention is and how to get it. Efficiency allows an organization to do more with less. Listen, I already know that doctors like to see 900 patients a week with one staff member. I get it. We have all been there if we've worked in the medical field. We can do this. We can see all these patients plus do surgery with just one person that works part-time. So, you know, that's just not true, and we know that. So efficiency, really, I think that we're probably spending more money being frustrated in our jobs and not doing the kind of work that we really want to do and provide to our patients, because we're just not slowing down and taking a look at everything that we need to do, right? And the little things that can actually make those improvements transformational in our practice. So if we can do that, I think that you're going to see just a better work environment. And then, of course, that allows us to do more with less. Okay. So another little funny. And we've all been there. And so I said to him, would you mind if I put you on hold? We kind of talked about that. Customer service, customer experience starts with you. And so make sure that you're really treating people the way that you would like yourself to be treated. And again, we get caught up and we're busy, but if you're in a little bit of a grumpy mood, and we know when we're kind of off one day, kind of check in with yourself. Like, am I being nice? Am I being helpful? Or am I just being irritated and I'm, not doing the best work possible? So our patients are customers. Most people would agree that patients are customers, but there's a few differences. Patients do not buy a product, right? They don't. Unless you actually sell products like vitamins and things like that at your practice. But most of the time, patients do not buy a product. Patients are only responsible for a portion of the service provided, co-pays, deductibles, things like that. The patient is not always right about their health needs, and this is very true, and let me explain this a little bit to you. So you've had those patients that come into the office, and what do they say? Oh, I need this kind of antibiotic, and then if I could have this shot, and then because they Googled everything, and now they've got their medical degree when they walk into the doctor's office, and so now they're going to tell you what they need. No, 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 that's not how it works, right? So we want to make sure that we're We understand that they've done some research, and that's fantastic. We like that proactive attitude, but we're going to take care of your health, and we're going to determine exactly what you need. But we love to hear your feedback. That's all you really need to say to that. But that really is true. They are not always right about their health needs. And here's the thing, patients cannot return the service for a refund. It's a one-shot deal, guys. That's why you got to make sure that this is a huge, huge piece in your practice. It's extremely important. Most of you have probably been or will go to Nordstrom's, okay? And we all know that their customer service is just about as good as it gets. The training that they put into their staff is unbelievable. Now, let's compare that to Walmart. Everybody's been in a Walmart or will go into a Walmart. That's all I'm going to say to that. So good customer service is crucial. Trying to define what goes into it, not everyone is on the same page. To some, good customer service is as simple as solving a problem and offering solutions quickly. So we've all had those. To others, it means overall pleasantness and politeness from those who represent the front lines of the company, okay? Others define it as when a company is willing to give their customers anything and everything they want. You know, the customer is always right approach. So no matter how unreasonable some of those demands may be, there isn't a right or wrong. You have to figure out what fits your practice. And remember, every patient is different. So you have to treat every patient differently. So here's another little funny that I put in here because this is actually really true. This is the #1 complaint in most medical practices is the wait time. Would this be super fun to put out in front of your office? I think it'd be great. I wish somebody would do this. But this really is one of the biggest places that the problem is. And so I ask a lot of folks this, how long for you do you think from the time you walk into the door till the time you walk out the door is reasonable? What would you be okay with? And I will tell you kind of overwhelmingly, people say an hour. So if we just say that that would be where our goal would be, where are you guys at in your practice, right? Is it 2 hours? Is it an hour and a half? Again, there's some variables here because you know, some patients need a little extra, that kind of stuff. It'll happen, but you should be able to make up that time and get back on track within a couple of appointments after the, you know, the one that's going to take a little longer or did take a little longer. So think about that, guys. Think about an hour. I think that an hour is good. I'm still going to give you a great rating. You're still being respectful of my time. And I just didn't have to wait or even go up to the front desk and ask, when am I going to be called back? Okay. All right. So what can we do to improve it? Well, I like this. I did a little play on words here. And so I ask everybody, you know, if you believe, here's the thing that I know for true. If I was to ask all of you, are any of you not so good at customer service? Would any of you raise your hands? No, you would not. Everybody thinks they're good at customer service. And it's because I'm speaking to your character of who you are. And you're never going to raise your hand and say, nope, I give horrible service to our patients. But in truth, there is a problem in this area, and we know that. Probably not in any of your practices, but certainly there is a problem out there. So everyone believes they're great at customer service, and I think everyone possesses a few of these, right? And we should, you know, try to possess as many as we can and put them in play with every single patient we see. So this is something, again, it's really, really great to print out and put it in the break room so that everybody can remember this, right? And so here I'm going to tell you something that I think is really, really true if you think about it when it relates to yourself. We judge ourselves by our intention. We judge others by their actions. So think about that for a minute. So we judge ourselves by the intention. It was only my intention. It wasn't my intention, right? So this is us talking about us, but others are judging us by, you said you were going to call me back and you didn't. You said you were going to show up and you didn't. You were always late. You see what I mean? So let's think about this, and this is all of us. Like, this happens to every single one of us. So let's really think about that. So what happened to customer service? Well, if you don't make it easy for people to communicate and do business with you, then you're hindering the growth of your business. That is 100% accurate. I think everybody would agree with that. Don't make the mistake of thinking that your patients will tolerate poor customer service or patient experience just because you're in a niche or a highly specialized industry. We have to really look at our patients and healthcare as a service that we are providing. When we are providing a service, there needs to be an experience that's positive. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other doctors. There's lawyers, auto repair shops, etc. And thanks to the internet and social media, it's easier than ever for your patients to find your competitors. So make sure that you're really thinking about this and teaching this to staff and physicians in your practice, because this is very, very true. So do you survey your patients? Most people say that they do survey their patients. Many people don't survey their patients. And so I'm going to tell you right now, health plans do survey your patients. So when they get the claims, they're sending out patient satisfaction surveys, and the patients are filling them out and sending them back into their insurance company. So if the insurance company is doing this, you should be doing it as well. Now, a lot of people are like, well, they're really hard to do. How do we do them? What do we say? What are the questions? I say keep those questions to maybe 5 to 7 questions. I happen to think there's only one question that you ever really need answered, and you should put it in your survey. And it is this: would you refer our practice to anyone you know? That's going to tell you everything right there, right? So I also feel like patient surveys should be done really by minor and major illness, because it's going to change the perception of that patient based on how sick they are, or, you know, they just coming in for that common cold. So I think it's a good idea to kind of have your patient experience questions directed around that. Patient surveys will reflect the type of patients that you see. A better indicator of what needs to change within the practice, you need to use them to your advantage. They're really, really great to get change happening in the practice. You're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth, if you will. And so that will help you kind of curb it and curtail things and move things around and change workflows and things like that based on what the patients are saying. You need to do survey patients to know if improvements are working as well. So if you've changed things, I always say make your changes in your practice. Anything you're going to change should be done in 30-day increments. They shouldn't be done in cement either. So what we're going to do is we're going to change. People don't like change. Believe it or not, people do not like change. So if we could say something to the staff like, hey, we're going to try this new way of doing something, you're going to get all these like, oh my God, no, really? Why? What? We never did it that way before, you know, that kind of stuff. You'll hear all of that. Just say, listen, we're only going to try it for 30 days. And then if we're going to go back to the drawing table, see if it worked, we'll cement it in stone. If it didn't work, we'll scratch it and try something new. So it's only a trial. 30-day trial is how we do change, any changes that we're going to make. All right? Okay, what are your patients experiencing? Well, appointment scheduling obviously is a big one. Can they get into your practice? How long does it take to get into your practice, right? There are time limits under most contracts that you need to get the patients in. But, you know, there are many physician offices out there, guys, that I've gone to or I've called and I can't get in for 3 months. Unacceptable. There is a huge problem if that's happening, meaning we need more providers. We need to expand hours. You know, are you seeing people in the evening? Are you seeing people on Saturdays? What do you need to do to get that, you know, really kind of down to a couple of weeks would be best. Not enough staff. We kind of talked about that. Again, 900 patients with 1 staff member, not going to work. But you really need to make the case. So here's what I'm going to tell you. We all know physicians are science-based, right? And when you're science-based like they are, that's their thinking. So we need to make sure that we're doing all of our due diligence and putting everything together, a proposal, if you will, with really good data that really makes the case that we need more staff, or we need whatever it is that you want to do. You can't just tell them we need more staff. They're going to just tell you like you're crazy, get back to work. They're not going to do that. So really make your case if that's something that you need to do. If you need help with that, give me a call. Loaded schedules, they're not going to do you any good. If you have loaded schedules, you can only see so many patients in so many amount of time. Okay, so I need you really to understand that and get these schedules fixed, because this is what's causing all these long wait times and all this, the dissatisfaction problems with your patients. Physician and staff burnout is a real thing. This is very serious. CMA is taking this very serious. We're working very hard on putting resources and tools together for our physician members that they can turn to us and get the help that they need, or at least get, some kind of information on how they can transform their practice to stop this staff and physician burnout. Wait times in the waiting room and exams, again, that's a problem. These are what patients are really experiencing out there. High employee turnover, another really good indicator that something's wrong. So make sure that you're looking at these things in your practice and what is the experience. And then again, you can even look at your own physician practice that you go to as a patient, and if any of these true for you. Okay, so improving, what can we do about it? Where do we need to start? So again, I kind of talked about, you want to make sure that you're doing changes and you're looking at things, keeping your finger on the pulse, and do those changes in 30-day increments. Team meetings, team buildings, daily, just a 5 to 7. Here's what we've got today. So-and-so is going to be out. You're going to take over that. Just kind of everybody's on the same page. Here's how many patients we have today. Here's how many procedures. Just do it daily. Works really, really well in a practice. And then monthly staff meetings. I think that, again, staff meetings need to be constructive. They're not complaint sessions. I think that's the biggest piece that you have to know, is that they're not. I really wanted to do this for you guys because it's really going to show you kind of what I saw out there and kind of tells the truth. So this is 2 stars and below. These are people that had 20 reviews or more. These are real reviews. I've taken out all the names so that nobody knows who they are. So you really want to make sure that you are checking on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis your review sites such as Yelp, Healthgrades, Vitals, those kinds of things. Because patients love to go and complain. We know that. And so let's take a look at these. So I'm just going to read out a couple of them. So be prepared to wait hours before you get called in. You will never be informed of what you should be doing next in regards to your appointment or follow-up. I've had this problem many times in my own doctor's office. When I get done with my exam, I open the door and it looks like a ghost town. Nobody's helping me. Where do I go? Who am I going to go see? It's always best to escort the patient to the next place, introduce them to them, and then hand them over, okay? So that's kind of a good one there. So front desk, a word for that girl. Sometimes empathy and a soft tone will go a long way. Rude. So, yeah, those poor front office folks really get the beat up. But our doctor's about the nicest doctor around, and it's sad that she works in this place. Don't you people communicate with each other? Yeah, that happens. Again, we're talking about that communication that we're all so great at. I have been on hold for 30 minutes listening to boring music telling me I'm the second caller in the queue. So we've all been there too. So I really wanted to kind of give you an idea of what's out there, and these practices could certainly learn from these reviews and make some really great changes. So the next ones are 3 stars and above. So again, 20 or more reviews, and let's just kind of, one that I really like a lot is, the doctor is warm, personable, and willing to answer questions in the office or call you back if you're wondering if you need to be seen right away. Sometimes I have experienced long wait times on the phone, but I didn't deduct a star for that. Why? Because the patient experience was so fabulous. And so that's all telling. Some patients that are not having that great patient experience would have slaughtered this practice on the review sites. People who complain about the wait don't just understand how much this doctor cares about you. He actually sits down and talks with you and goes over everything. Again, we're talking about patient experience, and what is that? The way that you make them feel. So these review sites can be super helpful to your practice. I would highly suggest you're checking them weekly or bi-weekly. Speak their language. Again, we really want to be careful about this, you guys. It's something that people just will never understand. They're not going to understand it unless they've been in the medical field, and so I think it's really important, just the ear infection. So think of a swimming pool that has stagnant water for a long period of time. That's what's happened in Johnny's ear. Like if we explain things to parents and explain things to patients in those kind of see, Jack, run, they really take that away and feel like they, have learned something and that you were very, very helpful. So speak in a language that they understand. I hate to say dumb it down, but I'm just saying dumb it down. So practice perspective, the only patient satisfaction question that matters is, did you die? I thought that was really cute. Okay, improving the patient experience. So again, we talked about those health plans are doing those surveys. Make sure that you're doing those patient surveys, the appearance of the office, current magazines, clean floors, furniture, front desk checkout. We don't want a bunch of boxes. Keep the TV turned on. Have current magazines, not stuff from 2011. Clinics should be organized, no papers or boxes in plain view. Patients want to come to an inviting doctor's office. So always just take a little look-see. We get busy and things start falling off and left on counters and things, so we want to make sure that that's not happening. Same-day appointment slots, I think that these are really important. If you're doing them and you have a really great way that you're doing them, please, give us some feedback on that. We'd love to hear what you guys are doing. I say start with 2 to 4 appointment slots each day divided between AM and PM. Record the time of day that they fill up. After 1 to 2 weeks, they fill up regularly. Continue to add as needed. And I think that's a great way to do it. If you haven't started same-day slots, that's a good way to start. Make a personal connection, make eye contact as much as possible. EHRs are making that difficult because you guys are typing and you're answering questions as you're typing and looking down. Try to look up and look at the patient. It really does mean a lot. And again, does it mean a lot as you're a patient? Yeah, it does. Write notes on their personal life. Maybe their daughter got married. They're taking a European vacation, something like that, that the doctor or you can refer back to if they come back. And then also, know your patient's reason for the visit, right? That's important. I mean, obviously. And then improving patient experience, wait times if you're texting or call patients if you're running more than 30 minutes behind. That way that they can run to the post office or they can go get a coffee or whatever. I think that works really well. Texting has been a big thing. I've heard a lot of practices texting. Dentists have been doing it for years, so I think it's a really great way to keep your patients informed. Addressing their priority. What's the one thing you want to be sure happens before you leave today? I don't think that's ever asked, but I think it's something that you should put in your repertoire when you're dealing with your patients. Understanding their care plan. Remind the goals of the visit and the next step and discuss the follow-up. Make sure that they understand, again, clear communication. Lab test protocols. You really want to put things in, manage the communication of the results to the patients in a timely manner. Are they, do they need to see a clinician? Can it just require a phone call, that kind of thing, and put some systems in place. Prescription refills, develop protocols to get prescription written for pickup or called into a pharmacy within 24 hours of the request. And then your referrals, I would say, referring patient to a specialist for testing or for testing. This should be done within 48 hours. All right. So here's the thing, improving the patient experience. You can train anyone how to do job tasks. Here's the thing, you cannot train people to be happy and positive. So if they're going to have a lot of patient interaction, please hire rainbows and sunshine. I really think that that's going to work out super good for you. If the position requires a lot of patient interaction, hire that personality plus, okay? Invest in education in your customer service, patient experience, patient satisfaction, absolutely important. It'll be one of the best returns of investment you have. listen, you're not a robot. The structure of your day does not stay the same. How you interact with patients should be individual and personal. If you see people as your friend, it will change the interaction with them. So if you can do that, that would be great. Don't be too hard on yourself. When the day isn't going well, just stay focused on how your energy is coming across to patients and coworkers. Do a self-check every couple of hours. I always say when you go to the bathroom, just ask yourself, how am I feeling today? And how am I coming across to others? That will be very helpful. So in summary, you guys, listen, communication is the one that you're going to forever struggle with people, not only your patients, but for you as well. So continued communication with the patients, reducing the misunderstandings. Make sure you talk with your patients about their financial responsibility, extremely important in keeping happy patients. Because if not, again, I say this, it feels like a used car lot when you go into the doctors and they're just asking for money and nobody told me and those kinds of things. So make sure that you're talking to them. Connect and build trust with your patients. Get those few things that you can talk about that are personable. Make it a priority to deliver quality patient experience, perform patient satisfaction surveys and patient experience surveys. I say all the time, I put annually because, again, a lot of people are doing them, but I say at this point now, and I probably will change this, just do it all the time. Just have them going all the time. If you're seeing patients 5 days in a row, obviously you don't need to give that to that patient, but do them continually. Speak in a language that patient understands, not medical terminology. And be sure to check review sites weekly. Remember to give the same level of service that you would want to receive as a patient. If you are not a CMA member, I would highly suggest that you join our team of members because we can absolutely make your life so much easier. And bonus, we can make you look better. And we love to do that at CMA. If you're not getting our monthly publication of kind of all the hot button issues that are going on in the payer world, I would suggest that you sign up for that. Visit our CES website, lots of free tools and resources. Again, I would love to talk to you. You can certainly reach out to me. We've got a member-only reimbursement helpline. We want to help you get paid. Please don't write anything off without contacting us first. And then, of course, our on-call library and our member service helpline. Anything that I can absolutely do for you all, please don't hesitate to contact me. This is all my good contact information. So write it down, keep it, give it to your friends and pals. This is the end of our webinar. Thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mitzi. So now I can read the questions in the question box. If anyone has any questions, please type them. It is located on the right of your screen. And at this time, we do not have any questions, so we can wait a couple seconds for them to come through, if anyone has any. Okay, well, if there's no questions for today, that was a great presentation. They don't even have any questions for you. You answered them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.